Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Josh, and today I have to warn you right up front, this is going to be probably a short video, because I don't have that much to say, and it's going to be another ranty video, so I'm going to apologize for that right up front. Today, we are going to be talking all about 2025 Toyota 4Runner pricing, because it's just been announced, and the thing is, I have nothing left to say about Toyota and their trucks right now, because everything that all my thoughts about this are pretty much the same as my thoughts on the new Land Cruiser, on the new GX, on the new Tacoma, and it basically boils down to these things are just like ridiculously expensive, and it's not even just ridiculously expensive, it's bordering on absurdity. I mean, I don't know who in their right mind, other than someone who doesn't understand the value of money and or like the world's most diehard Toyota fan, I don't know who's going to be paying these prices for a 4Runner. So with that, let's get into the few things I do have to say. So, in case you haven't heard or haven't seen, the 2025 Toyota 4Runner starts at $42,220, and I'm just going to put all this on screen. We're going to look at this for a while, so don't worry about trying to take it all in at once. And it goes up to $68,350, and those numbers include destination. And then on the table that you're seeing here on your screen, I have also included, for my home state of Texas, what your state sales tax would be. That would get added on top to give you a rough out-the-door price. And when we look at that top-end trim at $68,350, including destination, with the sales tax, I mean, you're seeing that number on screen. That is a ridiculous amount of money for a Toyota 4Runner. I don't think anyone should buy this thing. It is just insane. And then, on top of that, if you've watched any of my other videos in the past about the new Tacoma, the new Land Cruiser, we drove recently on this channel, a 2024 Land Cruiser 1958, which is going to be very similar to some of these lower end trims in the 4Runner range, like a 4Runner SR5, 4x2, probably very similar to like a TRD Sport. The interiors in these cars, you guys, is just solid, hard plastic. I mean, it's not even like Rubbermaid plastic, it's like dollar store plastic. It is again, bordering on the absurd. What Toyota thinks they can get away with because customers are willing to pay for these things. Like, when I got into that Land Cruiser 1958, I was appalled. It's one word to use, and that's the PC word to use for the way that interior looked and felt. And the same thing was true when I got into a new Tacoma SR5. And the thing with the new 4Runner is that it's basically copy and paste Tacoma's interior, pop it right into the new 4Runner, and boom, there you go. So if you've seen or ridden in the new Tacoma and you felt the materials in there, that is exactly what you're going to get in the new 4Runner. And they are $68,350. And okay, let me stop poking at the top end trim there. Let's talk about the mid-range. Okay, and mid-range now for the 4Runner, it would be like a limited, because there are basically three trims above a limited in this range. A 4x4 limited, non-hybrid, okay, so not even talking about the hybrid yet, is $58,850. That's more than a 5th gen TRD Pro fully loaded, okay? A limited, let's say you want the limited 4x4, but you want the iForce Max drivetrain. That is pushing $61,650, which is, $2,000 less than I paid for my GX 460 for a 4Runner. Like, no, mid-trim 4Runner, not even a fully loaded 4Runner. Mid-trim 4Runner. Like, no, absolutely not. And the other thing about these new Toyota trucks is, if you watched my GX 550 drive video, or you've watched my Land Cruiser 1958 video, the 4Runner is going to share, the 4Runner's basically the same identical chassis and everything with a different, body kind of bolted on that frame. And so I expect that the new 4Runner is going to drive exactly the way that the Land Cruiser 1958 I drove like, and that just wasn't great. This doesn't feel like a Land Cruiser. It doesn't even feel like a Toyota truck. It's kind of coarse. It's grainy. It's not that refined. You can tell the engine's having to work really hard because it's a little, 4-cylinder powering this giant, nearly full-size vehicle. The problem I have with this drivetrain is it is janky. So while there is enough power available to you most times, the delivery of that power is not great. It feels like, a 10-year-old car that wasn't maintained properly. There's a ton of when you're doing low speed city driving like this, you get so much vibration from it in the cabin, in the seat, through the pedals. It's really quite bothersome and really noticeable. So overall, the feeling of quality in these cars, gone. Interior materials, terrible. The refinement and the feeling and just kind of experience of the drivetrain, not great. And on top of that, you're charging, considerably more. You're charging $10,000 more on the high end for this new 4Runner than the old one. I just simply don't understand the strategy here on Toyota's part. I don't understand what their end goal is, because the American economy is kind of a shit show right now. And there was a point in time back in the later years of COVID and all the way up kind of through the early 2023, where people were snatching up cars left and right no matter what they cost, because I need a new car, and all I'm hearing from all sides is that cars aren't available and this, that, and the other. And there was a real sense like I need to get a car while I can, so I'm going to pay whatever it costs to get it. And now that there's more supply on the market, Land Cruisers here in my hometown are sitting on lots. Nobody wants them. Tacomas are getting huge discounts and great lease deals because nobody wants them. And I think the same is going to be true of this 4Runner, because, with everything except for maybe the 4x2s and like the real bare bones 4x4s, so that's basically everything 50 and below. Those will probably maybe sell decently well, although I have a feeling if you're a 5th gen 4Runner owner and you get out of yours and you sit in that new one, you're probably going to be pretty disappointed simply from the material quality. So I don't know if those will sell either. So I don't know. The next few years are going to be really interesting for Toyota, for the market as a whole with these new trucks. I think the people who used to buy Toyota trucks were... there's a subset of people who, like the TRD Johns of the world, who need to have the latest and greatest thing because they need to show off on social media and blah, 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 blah. But for the normal average buyer, which I think represents a pretty substantial subset of the car market, I think a lot of people are going to look at this and go, yeah, that's okay, I'm going to pass. And the other thing too, just final note, I was thinking about this when I was driving the Land Cruiser, is what else can I get for the money? And we think about, 75 grand basically out the door for TRD Pro 4x4 iForce Max. There's a lot of other cars out there that you can get for 75 grand out the door. And I think a lot of people are going to have to think long and hard about, is this new 4Runner or, new Land Cruiser or whatever, is that really what I want to spend $75,000 of my money on? I don't know. I'm a Toyota truck guy. I have always been a Toyota truck guy. When I was growing up, the 4Runner was like my dream car. And then in 2019, I bought a brand new 2020 Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro, and I held on to that thing for 4 years. I loved that car. It was like... I've always loved the 4Runner, and I've always loved the Land Cruiser. And I currently own a GX 460 that I bought brand new in 2023. It's the final year of the V8. I have owned a Tacoma in the past. I, aspired to own a Land Cruiser 200 series. I love Toyota trucks. And the reason I love these trucks is because they represented a great value. The cost of these cars was reasonable. The average person could go out and afford to buy a 4Runner, could go out and afford to buy a GX. And so a lot of people have, over the time I've been making YouTube videos and all the videos I do about these kind of things, some people have questioned, like, you claim to be, Toyota truck person and love them, and yet you hate on... I take every opportunity to hate on these. And it's not that I'm hating on them, although maybe I am. It's because the cars that I fell in love with, what made me fall in love with these Toyota trucks, simply just doesn't exist anymore. So I'm just kind of obviously I've talked for like probably more than 10 minutes at this point, but I'm kind of at a loss for words. I don't really know what else to say about these new trucks, because I don't see the value. I don't see what made, the quality product that we used to get with these trucks. And I think it's going to be, again, really interesting to see how the market responds, and how, not the auto journalists on YouTube who are going to hype this thing up and go glue their lips to Toyota's butthole, but the actual people who are stepping into dealers with their checkbooks, looking to buy a new car. It's going to be interesting to see how they respond to this. And if Land Cruiser and Tacoma volume is any indication, the response is going to be lukewarm at best, I think. So anyway, that's all I've got for you guys today. I apologize that this was a kind of a negative video, but I'm not gonna. I don't see a way to put a positive spin on this. At least given who I am and my interests and why I've always loved Toyota trucks. So anyway, thank you all for watching. I always appreciate it. If you want to add anything to the conversation, questions and comments, leave them downstairs. Or as always, you can email me at the email that you see here on screen. I was going to sit down and do this anyway, but then as soon as this all came out, I got like 3 emails from you guys. Where's the video on 4Runner pricing? And I'm like, oh, I guess I got to do it. So anyway, that's how you can get in touch if you ever want to, or if you want to just ask a question or join the conversation. So thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next one. Have a great one and take care.